Right, good afternoon everybody and welcome back to another edition of Thai Talk with Dan, the channel where we share all of your Thailand stories. Today we have a story from a subscriber who wants to share about his experience, his full experience, dating 3 different Thai women. So, without further delay, let's jump in to today's Thailand story. Hey Dan, I've been watching you for 1.5 years. I found your channel after breaking up with my then second Thai girlfriend, which should have been my last. I know the tactics of these ladies, but they tend to find a way, one way or another. Please allow me to tell you my full experience with 3 different Thai women. So, I first came to Thailand in 2017 with a friend. We flew to Bangkok and enjoyed the vibrant nightlife and parties the city had to offer, until we were ready for some sunny days where we headed south to the islands. Our trip was rather short but packed with a lot of adventure and fun. Yes, we also had some fun times with the girls at the bars during the trip. Now, going back to the boring life at home, my mind wouldn't stop thinking about going back to Thailand. I saved up some money and 3 months later I found myself on a plane back to Bangkok. From Bangkok, I quickly boarded a plane south and spent some time on a beautiful island on the east coast of Thailand. Enjoying the days at the beach, eating good, and in the mood for some flirting, I installed the dating app Tinder, and I found myself matching with a lot of girls very quickly. From these girls, there was one that stood out. She was 22 years old and looked absolutely stunning. We met for lunchtime, took a walk and spent all our time together until dinner. I was 26 at the time and freshly out of an 8-year relationship with a lady from my home country. I was very happy being with this girl, let's call her Pam, and asked her to spend time with me the next day, exploring the island. She willingly accepted the request, and we met the morning after. She looked stunning, and with a very sexy beach outfit, we were ready to go to the waterfall and spend some time swimming and exploring each other as well. Here, we are already getting very close to each other. We went out for lunch. After I invited her back to my room to get changed and hang out more, you might have guessed it, it led to an amazing bed gymnastics session. After we spent the evening on the porch talking and getting to know each other more, I felt good being with her and I asked her to join my trip to another island for 3 days. She told me she was working at her friend's bar and would need to lie to her. She said this because she is not allowed off without paying the owner a fine. I found this very weird, but was thankful that she wasn't asking me to pay this for her. The 3 days went by extremely quick, and after arriving back she told me she would quit her work and needs to go back to her hometown soon. I didn't think anything of it at the time and was happy to see her getting away from the bar job. I asked her if she wanted to spend the last 3 days of my holidays with me, which she happily accepted. My vacation was now coming to an end, and I was very sad having to leave her behind. She brought me to the airport and sent me off. I gave her my last Thai baht in cash, which was around 10,000 baht, and left promising to keep contact and see her again soon. I arrived home absolutely devastated and I was sad being back to work alone not in a beautiful country with a beautiful girl anymore. We talked daily over video call, and I borrowed money and flew back only 1 month later because my feelings and mind were driving me insane. Now, it was an amazing reuniting. We instantly were back like we were never apart. I started to plan my life with this girl, debating my options to invite her to my country at some time. Well, being aware how women from these countries operate, she didn't seem interested in leaving though. She loved Thailand, and I understood it is a very beautiful place. We spent a quick 9 days together where she also arranged to meet her mother, who was working in a factory in Bangkok. This meeting was very strange, as the mother did not speak a word of English, and they both basically talked about me while I was just sitting and smiling. It came time to pay, and I invited them. We walked away from the restaurant when my girlfriend asked if I can give her mum 2,000 baht. She said it was for food for the family. I shortly hesitated, but then I just accepted to buy the food, which she chose KFC, and she quickly ordered the biggest amount of chicken I have ever seen, totaling to just about 2,000 baht. She headed off with the chicken, and I headed off with mine. Time absolutely flew in Thailand, and I had started to plan to invite her to visit me in my country. This included her having to get a job or education, which should have led to a job after. I supported her efforts in becoming a manicurist and beautician, which cost me around 60,000 baht. I was sure to take receipts, flyers and other price information material to confirm everything beforehand. It seemed legit. She went there for about 5 days until she then stopped attending, and then the next thing I know, she is back in her village. After asking her what is up, the answers were murky to say the least. I read between the lines. This work was too hard for her. I tried everything I could to give her a motivational boost, even showing her what she could be earning in my country if she had the certificate. However, nothing helped. My frustration grew from day to day, as I was supporting her financially during the time with around 20,000 Thai baht per month, and she didn't do anything but lay in a hanging mattress in her hometown. I tried to be understanding, as I thought she might be overworked from the bar, and I gave her some breathing time. Nothing helped, unfortunately, and my resentment towards her grew. We were connected on Facebook, where I would notice remarkably older men commenting on her photos. This was always something I told her to fix, but she just shrugged it off, telling me it's just online. What do I care? Later, I saw one of these guys who also was sending her money monthly when I stumbled across a post she had made with a Western Union slip in the background with his name. This is when I realised she's just in for some quick cash. I called her and broke up the relationship. It hurt me a lot, but I was sure it was the right thing to do. 2 weeks later, she became an OnlyFans model after realising that I was really gone. So, my life passed on. My wounds turned into scars, and I dated a few other girls back in my home country. However, 2021, I decided to travel to Thailand again during the Corona time, where we needed to present a PCR on arrival, and after 1 week do a PCR there. I spent time in Bangkok and also used Tinder again, getting to know some girls and go on some dates while I was there. I met a girl called Lisa. She was 26, only a few years younger than me at the time. She was working for a big company in Bangkok selling construction materials. She seemed very well mannered, classier and better educated compared to the first. I was impressed. We saw each other a few times while I was in Bangkok, and then I flew to Phuket to meet a friend and have some nights out. On the day of our mandatory test, we woke up with the strong corona symptoms. My friend had booked a flight back home immediately. He warned me that I would be put in quarantine and then brought home after. We both didn't want to risk this, and therefore we flew off. I informed Lisa because initially we planned to meet back up after I came back to Bangkok from Phuket. She offered to meet me during my transit this day at the Bangkok airport. Despite my warnings, I met her and we both extremely glad to see each other. Despite my warnings, she didn't care of being infected and kissed me many times. I travelled home and my symptoms got worse. I arrived back with full-blown corona, feeling terrible. I phoned Lisa. She had also developed symptoms at that time, and eventually we both got corona sick. We kept video calling daily for 3 weeks while we both had corona. I made plans to visit her again when I recovered, which was around 3 to 4 weeks later. This time, I only stayed for a week, and we visited Phuket together and really grew tight. We talked about my country, and she always said she loves Thailand and doesn't want to live anywhere else. I understood, but didn't have a solution at that time to live in Thailand. Until one day, while we are on the beach, I open my newsfeed and a message hits me like a greeting from above. Thailand would legalise the plant with C coming next year. I looked at her and instantly decided if this happens, we'll be the first to open a shop on Phuket. I went back to my country and back to my desk job. She went back to hers. We kept video calling daily. I worked in sales and grinded for 1 year straight to save up the funds until one day she called excited and told me it's happened. I went to my boss and told him I would be leaving to live in Thailand as I was the #1 seller in this company. He tried everything to keep me. At the end, he gave me a laptop, phone and told me as long as I sell, I can live where I want. At the same time, Lisa quit her job and we planned to live together on Phuket. So, I sublet my apartment, packed all my personal belongings, took my last bit of savings and went to meet Lisa on Phuket, where we rented a condo long term and looked to open up a C shop as quickly as possible. We found a nice spot. I invested all my time and effort into getting the place open ASAP, and within a week, business was up and running. She was in sales and did a great job. People absolutely loved her. Naturally, being one of the first, business was great. My initial investment returned within only 2 weeks, and I looked for another shop to rent. She helped find staff, and it actually worked out amazing. Now before, whilst working in Bangkok, she was living with her aunt and niece, making just about 16,000 baht monthly. She also had to contribute to costs of living. I had offered her 25,000 baht and free accommodation, food and drink. But after a few weeks, she started asking for more, explaining that the rent contract and license is in her name and she has to face the risk if anything happens. I explained I brought the money, idea and efforts to open and didn't agree with her wish, as I would be using the money for our future anyway, which I kept safe. Now weeks passed and she mentioned this topic a few times on the side. I kept repeating, also asking what she needs money for. Her answer, just to keep. I told her, don't worry, I'll keep it for us. She was always angry and showed me the cold shoulder then. This went a few days even, until it was out of mind. The arguments got bigger and she brought up her mum a few times, mentioning her mum also thinks she is underpaid and being used by me. I told her to stop working if she feels like that. I would still pay her 25,000 baht because she holds the papers. She got more and more argumentative over even the smallest of things, and it would sometimes end in the cold shoulder treatment. Other times in full-blown arguments with heated screaming from both sides. The business kept running good and I had opened 3 shops and just signed the 4th lease. We also just moved into a house with our new puppy and I was full of energy to expand because I saw how much potential there still was at that time in this market. Our arguments over petty reasons continued and worsened. One day she came to me heated and dead set, telling me she wants 100,000 baht monthly or she will cancel the leases. Once I heard that, I somehow woke up from my dream and instantly told her to get the F out of my life. I called a lawyer and tried to save my businesses. He understood the severity of the matter instantly and he got to work. The same day, he had sent a binding contract for her to sign an agreement to transfer all the leases and licenses to my company, which he was simultaneously forming. She didn't want to sign without a battle. She asked for 500,000 baht to begin with. I am a good negotiator and ended up getting the signatures on this paper for only 15,000 baht. Also in part because she knew how many more papers there actually still are coming. When all of her documents were ready and all we needed is just her last signature, they blocked asking me again for 500,000 baht. I filled a bag with the money and met her in a restaurant with the papers in my hand. She asked if I had the money, which I showed her in my bag and told her to sign the papers. After her initial hesitation, I insisted, how does she expect I give her the money if she hasn't signed for it? So, she quickly signed. I took the papers, stood up and left, chuckling at her insults and leaving her a smile while I walked away. I had won, but still my heart was broken. I was left with 4 businesses and a lovely dog to take care of by myself on the other side of the world. Now, being a shareholder entails nothing much apart from collecting dividends, so my day was pretty much free. I spent some time with friends, went out daily and tried to escape my hurt feelings from what Lisa left in my heart. I dated again, on Tinder again. I met a girl, let's call her Nam. She was alone after she just recently left her French boyfriend who was cheating on her. She was working for him, but he didn't pay her anything. I felt sorry for her and I could somehow relate as we both came from a bad relationship with a bad partner. We grew closer quickly. She turned out to be the sweetest girl that I had ever met until this day. Every time we went out on a date, she would be so thankful of me paying. She would assist, help where I might have needed some at the business and at home. This lasted for 1 month until I could call her my new girlfriend and we were officially together. So, she volunteered in my shops and when I paid her some amount for the time, she never accepted it. She cleaned and took care of the house and never asked for anything and didn't even want to accept any gifts. I lived with her and we grew tighter. We got a second dog to fill our family and moved into a newer, bigger house with a swimming pool. I was as happy as never before. I forgot my past experiences and was happy to have learned in choosing the right Thai girl. She worked sometimes in the business, jumping in once a week when other staff had a day off. She never wanted money for this, so I eventually stopped trying. I gave her gifts naturally as she is my girlfriend, and paid for food and drink which isn't the world, and was happy to have helped her out at my house and with the dogs as well. The relationship progressed, and after 6 months she started opening up to me about her parents' money issues. Dum dum dum. I always listened but eventually told her they should stop asking us as she didn't have money and I wasn't going to start losing more money after losing about 500,000 baht on the ex in lawyer fees and more. So she started gambling on her phone daily. Sometimes she would win and be able to send her parents something. Other times she lost it all and borrowed money from her friends or my staff, starting off with smaller amounts but then gradually playing with bigger amounts. She seemed to have it all under control as she never asked me to help or anything else. She became more distant and passive-aggressive, pulled in by the game which she sometimes played for 12 hours straight. I started to complain and tell her she needs to stop playing all day. Then she broke out in tears, telling me how her father and mother both are desperate for money and always asking her. If she wouldn't send, her mother sometimes didn't answer the phone for a month straight. I felt really sorry for her, tried to make her feel better and told her, and we are there for you. She doesn't need to answer their calls if all they always want is money. I repeated this over time, sometimes while angry, adding they should go work and not scam their own daughter. She didn't like that at all. Our relationship, apart from these issues, was absolutely great. We enjoyed our lives and time together, going out with our dogs, taking trips to other islands. We were happy. She took very good care and never asked for any money in return. Now months passed again and we reached our first year anniversary, 1 year, and during this year I've witnessed countless occasions where her parents asked her for money and she would instantly turn her mood by 180 degrees. So I kept my opinion and told her that we cannot help, as we have our own future to build and we are not there yet. Her moods became very bad over the next few months, also causing some near breakups. I always was able to calm her down and it never went that far. One day, she tells me about her father being sick and needing money for the hospital. Now this time, I flipped, as I didn't believe that she was telling the truth and told her to just block them if all they do is ask for money always. A few days later, she went to get her nails done, which she drove there on her motorcycle alone. 1.5 hours later, I received this message. Sorry, I can't continue. Just throw my clothes away. I am sick and I need to go to Bangkok. I love you. Do not look for me. I was totally shocked and quickly called her. She had blocked me everywhere. I took the dogs to the car and drove to the airport and I looked to find her. However, I gave up a few hours later and drove back to talk with her friend, who might have more answers. She told me that she didn't want to speak, but will be at the airport at 11 p.m. to fly to Bangkok. So I quickly dropped the dogs at my friend's house and headed to the airport, buying a ticket to be able to enter the gate and find her. I looked and waited for 4 hours just to drive home without finding her. She left all behind except for the most valuable belongings. I found an old tablet of hers which had a broken screen and was able to reactivate it and get inside because there was no PIN. I opened her emails and saw she had booked a flight to Korea. I also saw that she had sent the booking confirmation to a hotel in Patong, which I quickly assumed she was still at. I drove to the hotel, went to the reception with full dedication, asked in which room she's in. The reception seemed visibly shocked and continued to tell me that she had just left. I didn't believe it, so I sat in front of the hotel, waiting for 2 hours in the hot sun until she came out, escorted by 6+ people surrounding her. When I tried to go to speak to her, they blocked my way and then continued to put her in a waiting car, lock the door and drive off. I follow, first running, then I got into my car and pursued them at full speed over the mountain from Patong to Katu. I remember the booking confirmation of the Korean flight and remember there was a cancel button, so I stopped pursuing them, flipped on the tablet, cancelled the ticket and stopped the pursuit for now. Now still not knowing what the F is going on. The day passes and I hope for her to contact me somehow, but she didn't. The next day I woke up and checked the tablet. On Google Maps, I seen that she landed in Korea and was driven 150 kilometers north of Seoul, and she was in some small city close to North Korea. I wrote her mail after mail, seeing she would read but not respond. I tried everything I can to reach the South Korean authorities and have them check, since at this point maybe she is being human trafficked against her will. Without much luck, as they would only respond if I was there in person. So I see her search history starting to fill with translations about message, times and payments. I see her GPS timeline and she is visiting motels as well. I can't wait anymore and take a flight to Korea to see for myself and find the answers that I am looking for. I leave my dogs at the training centre, but felt very sorry to do so as they haven't ever been without me or their mum, i.e. my girlfriend. So I get to Korea and take a taxi from the airport. It took 3.5 hours until I reached the place the GPS last picked up her location. I scoped the surroundings and found nothing, so I decided to print some missing papers complete with her photos and an email to respond offering a reward. I go around putting these in shop windows, on walls and poles on the streets until I walk into the police station and explain the situation. So the police actually took it seriously and instantly went to go and find her. After 1.5 hours, he came back telling me that he found her, but she does not want to talk. I asked kindly, is there any way to let me speak to her? And then he brought her to the table to sit with me. She looked absolutely terrible. She coloured her hair green with some more shades of green. Unexplainable how crazy she looked, coming in with raggedy clothing as well. She did not want to look into my eyes. I asked her if she is okay and she said yes, but I saw in her eyes that she isn't. She isn't being forced to do this, she's forcing herself to do this. Or better statement, her parents are forcing her to do this. She told me that I constantly insult her family and she is there to support them. She swore it's a normal massage, which I asked police to reconfirm, and they did. She continued, her mother also doesn't like me. Sure, since I don't fill their bank account, and being able to massage in Korea with an official visa was a big chance for her. She needed to do this and support her family. Now I could see how serious she was about it and noticed her uncomfort talking to me. So I then just ended the conversation with, look at everything that I did to find you. I love you and worried you could have at least told me and clear things before you go. She replied that I wouldn't have let her go if she did. So that is how the meeting ended. I left this town and drove back to Seoul, where I took the next plane back to Phuket. Back to my businesses, back to my dogs, alone and heartbroken yet again on the other side of the world, looking back and thinking, was it all a mistake? I don't know. All I know now is I need to figure out what are my next steps, and do I want to stay on this island or even this country? Furthermore, can I even take my dogs with me if I want to go back home? I've been here 2 years and seen more than in my whole lifetime. I am not old, 32 now, and my head now full of grey hair that wasn't there before I moved to Thailand. Maybe I will just end up staying here for now, but my mood towards the country, the people and culture is at its prime. I don't know if I can ever be happy here again after this. Girl 1 was a bar girl that saw me as an opportunity to quit working, and I ended the relationship because she wanted only money. Girl 2 was playing the long game. At the first chance she jumped at the money and I kicked her out, only losing little to her but a lot to lawyers. Girl 3 was a cute, innocent girl looking for the affection of the parents. She ended up ditching me out of the blue just to make some money in Korea to send to her parents. This was the hardest one for me to grasp. Did any of them really love me? Maybe in their own twisted, perverted ways. Let's call it the Isan way. My advice to everyone on this channel: F them all. Always use rubbers. Don't pay more than 1,000 and never take them more than once so you cannot get addicted. They do the best they can to make you fall in love, make you addicted and need more. I would state there is no legit Thai girls dating foreigners. However, if you believe to have found one, later you will be surprised what happens. Usually it goes good for around 6 months and then they start letting down the facades. Mental illness, abuse, gambling and substance addictions, jealousy, bipolar, just to name a few problems these girls have. If you can't F them and go, don't F them, just go. Better yet run. The end. Wow guys, what a story. Mental, absolutely mental, and I could feel his pain as I was reading through the story, and I also noticed the mistakes that this guy was making, especially the girl that didn't want any money. She was happy to do things for free. She never took anything because she had bigger problems. She didn't want to, for me, she didn't want to upset this guy. Yeah, she wanted to make him fall in love with her, like most women do around the world. They want the guy to fall in love, same as the guy wants the woman to fall in love, etc. But the fact that this guy didn't really speak to her properly about her parents and understand that the way it works here, especially in Isan, but obviously throughout the whole of Thailand, is that there isn't big help like we have in the West from the government. They get helped a little bit, but it's not enough, guys. So they rely on their children to support the parents, and it's the same over again. If you had a child with your girlfriend, if you got older and you couldn't work and there's no pension that you get in and stuff, and you're not making enough money to survive, then it's the children's job to take care of the parents, because the parents took care of the children their whole lives, so they pay it back. And this guy really needed to understand that. Obviously, I don't know if she really loved him or not. It's all quite crazy, but to have a hatred for Thailand and say that there's no genuine relationships here, that's wrong. This guy just got with women that obviously had problems and money issues. Try to make sure, if you're dating and you don't want a woman with money issues, make sure you find out from the outset that she's not in debt, she can take care of herself, she's not gonna like literally jump on this guy, she just wants a normal relationship where they take care of each other, etc. But guys, I'm gonna let you have a say down in the comments below and explain where this guy went wrong and what it can teach others if they decide to start dating Thai women that are similar to these women that this guy dated. But very crazy for him to go chasing her in South Korea. But I can understand when you're in love, people do crazy things. But put your comments and your feedback down below. Guys, as I always say, if you have your own Thailand true story and you want to share it in order to help others or just get it off your chest, then get your emails sent in to thaitalkwithdan@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. Take things slowly. If you do end up dating over here, it takes time to really get to know someone. Remember that when you first start dating, even yourself, guys, everybody puts a bit of an act on, yeah? Everyone's a character in their own movie, and you never get to see who someone really truly is. When that character drops and they show you who they are, it takes time. And normally, in order to see who someone really is, you need to be living with them for quite a while, and a minimum of 6 months. So take that into account. Apart from that, guys, take it easy and ciao for now. Bye-bye.